Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Jerry. Paul and Max are here. We're gonna talk. Our Croatian wonder that we decided to let go on loan to CSKA Moscow. Nikola Vlasic. That's for our Croatian friends who actually watched and corrected our pronunciation. Vlasic. There you go. We took notes. We listened. So, guys, we just talked about our midfielder situation. And it's more of our center midfield situation because Vlasic is... would we all agree that his strongest position is probably that center attacking mid, that number 10 position? That's what Silva seems to think. Would you guys agree with that?
No.
Really?
Really? Nah.
Do you see him on the wing?
Yeah, I see him as a winger. Me, I think he just. But I think when it comes to when you've got a player that's kind of blurred between, you don't know whether he's a centre attacking midfielder or a winger. I think putting them on the wing tells a lot more about the player if they're efficient with the space close to the line, if they can cope with being close to the line. The example that I use is, remember that phase where Roberto Martinez played Ross Barkley on the wing, and Ross Barkley just struggled because he didn't have the room, didn't have the time, struggled being so close to touch. That is a clear indicator that he's more central than he is a wide player. In terms of Vlasic, I know he's very steady on the ball. He seems to have, quite a low centre of gravity, which are all useful traits for an attacking midfielder. But those quick feet, the ability to beat a man, the ability to approach the box at an angle, I think he's just a lot better at that than he is square with options. I think approaching at an angle to the box, he's a lot more effective. So that's my argument as to why I think he's a winger instead. Defensive... something that I know, Jerry, you'll probably flag it up because it is something that you do bring up, and it's a valid point. His defensive work rate isn't what it should be when he's out on the wing, but that's just my opinion. I think he's a winger more than anything else.
Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you, Max, those are valid points, and I think it's a solid argument. I just totally disagree, which we don't do very often. And I do actually think that Silva sees him as... I think that's what he was talking about. He did an interview where he was talking about Vlasic. I think it was in the Echo, where he was talking about how I can't guarantee you minutes in the position you want to play. And I think, totally gouge me later if I'm inaccurate here, guys, that he was saying that he sees that Vlasic is that center attacking mid role. That's where he saw him. And I think that's what he's doing in Moscow right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's playing high up the pitch.
Playing that number 10? I think he is. So, yeah, and for me, my issue with Vlasic on the wing or as a outside forward is he's quick but not fast. You know what I mean? Like, he's good over 5 yards, but over 20 yards, I feel like those outside backs will just totally... He won't be able to, pass them by the way Richarlison or Walcott can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Paul, I'm talking all over you. What do you think about it, man?
Vlasic, for me, he's a forward, but he's one of these players where you're only going to get the best out of him if you set him up in a certain formation, and I just don't see us playing in that formation. I mean, he played a few times in a flat 4-3-3, and he kind of looked a bit like it wasn't. He didn't really pull up any trees, and then he played a couple of games in a sort of what's it called, a 4-2-3-1. It's the number 10, traditional number 10. But that didn't really get the best out of him either. I think he can play in a 4-3-3, but it has to be a 4-3-3 where they're kind of just inside forwards type thing. They're not stuck out on the wing. He's the complete opposite of a Balassi and a Deulofeu, guys who were stuck out on the wing when we were at, and they're just expected to whip crosses into the box. That's not his game. He's going to cut in. It's the type of player who are compared to maybe like I think the world's best example of it is maybe an Iron Robin type player, a guy who will get the ball, who'll drive it forwards, and he will cut in. or he will release someone in front of him type thing. If you're just going to stick him out on the line and want him to, play the ball to an overlapping fullback or whip the ball in from deep and kind of get it on someone's head, I don't really think that's his game. And I don't think it's his game either when he's sitting directly behind a striker and he's kind of trying to play in the central areas and carry the ball forwards from his own half. Vlasic, I like him personally. I think there's definitely a player there. If he doesn't cut it here, then I think he will cut it for someone at a decent level. And I want to see him come back. I want to see him get another chance. But whether we're going to play him in the formations that will get the best out of him, I'm really not sure. But I think he's a forward player. He's not an out-and-out winger. I don't think he's an out-and-out number 10. I think he's... I'm trying to think... It's not really number 7 because you class a number 7 as a wide winger, wouldn't you? He's part of 4-3-3, but part of 4-3-3 where the two guys behind the number 9 are tucked in close type thing, and they don't kind of go out wide and take it to the corner flag. He's not a Walcott, he's not a Blassie, he's not a Delafeu. I think Richarlison is a player who does that role even better than him. Obviously, Richarlison's by far a better player. Just a player who's kind of a bit of an as Max said, he's better when he's got angle and he's got room to cut in and kind of release somebody sort of thing. He's not going to get the best out of him when you just tell him to stick to this instruction and do it to a T, which is stay on the line with crosses in or just stay in the centre and have shots from deep.
Yeah, Max, you mentioned something that I think when you were talking about him, he did use the space well when he was playing on the outside. He did, and Ross did not. That is... I would counter that I think Vlasic is a smarter player than Ross. You know what I mean?
That's not hard.
Yeah,
no.
I was trying to be nice here. Yeah, even though I don't really need to be after the way Ross pieced out on us.
No, I'll say it. In Barkley's head, there's just a cow eating grass. Genuinely, do you know what I mean? Talented footballer, but idiot of a person.
Oh. Man, so yeah, that's my thinking about Vlasic though. Is I actually think he's a clever player, and I think you want your clever players. And I think he's actually quite good on the ball, and I think he can carry the ball the way Ross could. He's not as athletic as Ross was, but I do think he's got a better eye for a pass, frankly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would have loved to have seen him on our bench coming in for Sigurdsson every once in a while, just because it's so different than Sigurdsson. It would have been, I think it would just been a very different look to be able to throw at teams, because I like the idea of being able to sub Sigurdsson out sometimes. I mean, yeah, he's an Iron Man, but sometimes throwing something totally different at the opposition would be great. I don't know. And right now, I think he heard he wasn't going to get as much time if he was a backup, so he wanted to go somewhere and start. He played every game. He thought his words, I think, were that last year was a wasted year.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and if I was him, the way he was treated sometimes, I don't know, guys. Do we actually think that he? I mean, for the record, we haven't stated this yet. He has 1 goal, 1 assist in the Russian league and 1 goal, 1 assist in Champions League. So we were talking about how he's ripping it up right now for Moscow. He's doing quite well, and he's finding other people for goals as well, not just scoring them. Do we actually think he's got a role at Everton moving forward?
You just said, David, last 2 games, 2 goals and an assist. One being a goal in a Moscow derby, and another one which I think is really interesting, because when you talk about his career at Everton, he's very much an outcast, and there was nowhere for him to fit in. Obviously, if he was moved to Siska, his first goal was a 95th minute penalty. So to entrust him with responsibility must have an impact on him psychologically or mentally, but certainly has an impact. It gives him a lot more confidence when he's on the pitch. So I think if he's to come back to Everton, you've got to give him a crack of the whip in terms of responsibility. You've got to give him a pedestal to step onto. Give him a load to bear. See what he does. Obviously, it looks like it's doing wonders at Siska now. So I don't know. I think that it's just particularly with young players that seem to be in a, they either turn up or fold under when given responsibility. And if his time in Russia is what anything to go by, then give him some responsibility when he comes back.
Yeah, you look at. I think Dowell was okay playing that backup role this season to Sigurdsson. I think he saw it as, you know what, I've waited my turn, and damn it, I'm getting a chance with the first team. That's awesome. And I'm going to get some time. I'm gradually going to be worked in. Vlasic is thinking, I've already been on a first team before. I've played Europa League. You know what I mean? Like he's been a starter for a solid squad in Europe. So he's got to be sitting there thinking, he needs to play. He wants the minutes. There's some players are okay at that stage of their development with just being an apprentice. Vlasic, he's kind of like, you know what? I've been there. I've done that. I can't waste any more time. He's older, right?
Yeah. He seems he's in an athletic family, isn't he? I know his sister specialises in
high jump
athletics, and I know his father had a lot to do with the development in terms of sports. So again, it must be down to responsibility, To be in a family like that, obviously a pressure comes with it, and like you say, when he's benched or put to the under-23s or whatever, and he must just think, I've been here and done that before.
For me, he looks like a type of player who kind of maybe needs an arm around him at times, and he's not really had that since he got here. He was bought by Koeman, or under the Koeman regime, and we knew Koeman's not that type of manager. Never has been. He kind of believes in players figuring things out on their own, and sometimes that works for certain players. Sometimes it doesn't work at all for others. And what happened after Koeman went, and then Unsworth came in, and Unsworth didn't appear to have any time for him at all. Did he make an appearance under Unsworth? I don't think
Unsworth
he did.
kind of immediately, moved him down. I think Unsworth didn't like him.
I don't know what the situation was, but clearly he didn't get an opportunity under Unsworth. And then Allardyce came in, and let's be honest, would you want that guy's arm around you, even if he was willing to give it? I wouldn't. So.
Go great gravy stains.
Your knees would give out on you if that guy put his arm around you. And then what happened after that? Allardyce went and Silva came in, and I think Silva could be that manager who does that eventually, puts an arm around and develops him and gives him confidence. But Silva's getting here in the midst of a massive upheaval. He's got enough on his plate type thing. There's other players who require his attention more immediately. So I really hope we haven't seen the last of Vlasic. I think there's definitely a player there, and I hope to see him back here next season and getting a lot of minutes for the first team. But if it doesn't work out at Everton, I can definitely see it working out for someone else, because I do think there's a player there, and I think he's showing enough in Russia right now that if we do decide to just move him on permanently next season, I think someone will take him off us. But I want to see the kid. I wouldn't even call him a kid. He's an international footballer at this stage, isn't he? As you said, he's played Europa League. He's had a taste of the big time. I want to see him come back and get a fresh start. I really do. I think he's shown enough already in his few weeks, months that he's been over on loan in Russia that there's something there worth developing and trying to shine, kind of thing. And I think I'd like to think Silva believes in him too, and Silva's just kind of keeping a watchful eye on him from afar rather than just forgetting about him entirely.
Yeah, it seemed like Silva was just very honest. Vlasic went to him and said, "Hey, am I going to play some? Yeah. I don't know. Sigurdsson's my starter, and these other guys are starting at the forward position. So, it goes back to what I said. Silva's getting here, and he's got a lot of priorities. He's got a lot of things to do. Vlasic is just nowhere near the top of his list right now when it comes to things that he has to really give his full attention. And I don't blame the manager for that. But hopefully, it's a different story next season. Hopefully, he rips it up in Russia and catches the eye in the European games, and as I said, Silva does have an eye on him and thinks, right, when that kid comes back next season, I'm going to have a fresh start with him. I really hope so. There's certain players who are out on loan who I don't ever want to see at Goodison Park ever again, and there's certain players who I would be more than happy to give another chance to, and he falls in the latter category. Yeah, I'm worried it's bad timing for him to be at Everton with Sigurdsson getting so many minutes. I'm worried we're going to be selling him next summer, which stinks because I do like him like you. So, oh well, but he's doing well. So keep it up, Vlasic. All right.
God bless. Yeah.
That's it for our Nikola Vlasic segment. If you've been enjoying the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues channel. You should check out these other two guys who have been talking to me about football, Everton things. Max, you can find him on the Toffee Blues website, but also he crops up on other sites with his writing and podcasts, and just his image just appears all over. So just check his Twitter for that, and you'll find that. Paul, also on the Toffee Blues website, he's got his analysis on there, and on the Liverpool Echo fan jury. All right, so that's it for the videos, guys. So I guess we'll go ahead and finish up our pod exclusive. And if you want to check out our podcast, the pod exclusive is a quiz called If You Know Your History, and it's a showdown cage match between Max and Paul. So go to the podcast and check it out now. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye.